something really good. And over in the barn, there was a hole down at the base of it. And he looked around and he said, I want to get in there. And first thing you know, he heard a chicken cackling. And she has laid an egg. And her name was Cooker. And Pre-Andy just loved Cooker because she was his very best friend. And so she left the barn, and here comes Mr. Nazoka the snake. And he goes over to the egg, and he says, oh, that's going to make me feel so good. And he opens his mouth, and he swallows that egg. And then it went down his throat into his body, and he went back to that hole that he had crawled through, and he bashed his body against that hole, and whack, that egg broke. And he said, I feel so good, I'm not hungry anymore. And so he went home and he told his wife, oh, what a good time he had found some lovely food. And she said, yes, you're going to get in trouble. And so Pre-Andy told his father, he said, Father, I went to get an egg today, and Cooker didn't lay an egg. And he said, maybe something happened to it. And he said, because she is a faithful friend, and she lays an egg for you every day. And he said, I'll tell you what. He said, let's put on a pot of water and boil it. And you bring me an egg. So they made a fire, and they put a pot on it with some water in it, and they boiled it. And they put the egg down in the pot. And when it got done, they took it out, and they let it cool a little bit. And then they placed it into the barn. And they got behind a barrel and to watch. And here come Mr. Nazoka the snake, and he said, oh, there's another good meal. And he opened his mouth, and he swallowed that egg. Down it went into his stomach, and oh, he was so delighted. And he went back to that hole in the barn floor, and he stuck his head through, and his neck went through. But when he got to that bulge in his body, it would not break. He thrashed his body one way and the other, but it just wouldn't break. And so they came out from behind the barrels, and they killed him. And no more did he eat the eggs. But Jesus said in his word, I'll tell you how this saying came about. Be sure your sins will find you out. When the tribe of Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh, they made their camps on the east side of the Jordan. And he promised Moses, says, if you'll just let us be in this good land, when the others go over Jordan and they start fighting the enemy, we will go too. And so Moses said, all right, I will hold you to it, and if you don't, be sure your sins will find you out. And you can never hide your sins from God. But he loves every one of you, and he has made an escape for you by giving his son to the world. And he said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.